on his shoulder. So yes, I got my foot against the stone. Never sleep, he'll never slumber. And he has promised to never ever leave me alone.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to this episode of True Talk, this special episode of True Talk. And we have a guest in our midst. We have a father, one of the fathers of Mount Zion, our own father. That we're so happy to have you with us.
Thank you.
Yes, we have evangelist Dr. Yemi Adepoju.
Thank you. Nice to be in your midst.
Yes, so glad to have you here, sir.
Yes, you guys are doing a good job.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We have Daddy with us. It's a privilege to have Daddy here. And because of that, we would like to be drawing from his well of wisdom. So we're going to be asking Daddy a few questions.
Right.
And also, Daddy will be shedding light on pertinent issues that, is salient and relevant to us today. So Daddy, the first question we would like to ask is, what exactly is your salvation story? How did you, meet with Christ? How was it like for you, sir?
Well, that's a very, very critical question in the life of every man. Incidentally, I was sharing with my wife yesterday about this salvation issue. I told her that we went for this. The scripture used to come to our school, and then I used to follow. They used to take us from our school to the next school. So there was this school, local community grammar school near Oyo. So they had a deeper life retreat and all that. They had a retreat and we went. I told my wife, that was the first time I raised my hand. I raised my hand, but I did not, after we raised our hands, it's not as if there was some kind of follow-up, but we knew, we just, like that. But the real experience happened. I was I attended the Evangelical Church of West African Evangelical Church Winning Hall, and pastor was preaching. Ekwa was preaching, and I was silent throughout the preaching. I told my wife, I said, I knew something happened to me, because in Ekwa they don't make altar call that you come out like that. That was how it was then. But he preached salvation, and I knew something happened to me, and I started building on it. It was not a smooth journey, actually. It was not a smooth journey. It was a bumpy journey for me, because after I gave my life to Christ, not too long after, I had to further my education, and I had a lot of bumps along my own experience, trying to stabilize my salvation experience. I mean, when I mean stabilize, I mean, you need to grow to understand what the decision you just made. So there were several teachings on it, and we built up. It was being built up over the years, and by attending church, not all churches feed you with the right, diet that will really help you to grow. But I thank God that, because not too long after, I had to travel out for my studies. And, I had a different experience of Christianity. I knew the kind of Christianity we practiced there, and all of a sudden I found myself a young student, young in the Lord, in a new land. So I had to begin to look for fellowship, and sometimes I'm the only black man in the whole of the church. The whole of the fellowship, I felt detached, so I started, attending their Bible study. And incidentally, when we gave our life to Christ, they didn't tell us about the Holy Spirit experience, about baptism in the Holy Spirit, because the church we gave our life to, they are the evangelicals. We have evangelicals, we have Pentecostals. Yes. The evangelicals believe in salvation and all that, water baptism, but they don't proceed beyond that. So we had that evangelical experience till I traveled. So I was in the bus and somebody was reading a book, White Tongues, and I was staring at the book. And the woman looked at me, she gave me that book that day. And she invited me to her fellowship, So that was where I had the Pentecostal experience, being filled with the Holy Spirit and stuff like that. So that's how one started building up. There are a lot of struggles, especially when you are youth. Yes, struggles. Struggle with flesh. Struggle with youthful lust, struggle with challenges. That's how we advise someone: if you are not strong, don't travel out. It's more challenging there than here. It's more challenging, and of course, nobody will chase you about, monitor you. You are just like on your own. You have this freedom, And when they say love not the world, there's no world there. Just there is what they call world. So many things to distract you, to put you under pressure, and there you are really exposed. You are vulnerable. So
you're alone.
You are alone, yes. You are alone. And I remember those days, alone in my school, and I made the college hostel in the room alone, yourself and your bed and your table. So I brought this tape recorder from Nigeria, and many times I've been lonely and scared. So I brought this tape for this woman, this CAC good woman. I brought that tape from Nigeria. So I used to play that tape. It was in Yoruba language. So I was listening to that song all over. So it was really, but by the time I came back to Nigeria, thank God, not too long after that, I had in contact with ministry things. Then from there, I started going to mission churches where I heard about mission. In fact, I thought I'm going to be a missionary in one of those countries. Because all we were here in our church, there was mission. Then when I came across the Drama Ministry in 1980, I first of all came across Drama Ministry in 1986 through the Word Production. Then came across in 1987. And that was where I now began to see my passion. This is where it's directed to. Because I had the opportunity to go to the pastoral college. I had the opportunity of going to mission school. I had the opportunity of also pursuing a career as a builder. So many things were just there. And it can be really challenging to find the right direction in life, especially when you have so many options. So that is how I could just put in a nutshell my salvation experience. Another point is that being religious and being born again, that's where the problem was. Many of us, we are religious. When we were in school, we were religious, but we are not really decisive like that. But we thank God that one has eventually took the right decision.
Wow, Daddy, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. And I want to ask another question. You said something about how you had so many options. As a builder, there were just so many options that presented themselves to you. And I'm asking this question because there are some people that I've spoken with, and they've appeared confused. They're confused with what exactly they're supposed to do in life because so many doors are open to them. Even of recent, I was speaking with a friend of mine, and she was just saying how she was just literally confused because she's seen an open door here, an open door here, an open door here. She doesn't know what God wants her to do. Because normally, if this door opens, then this is where God is. So just go for it. But now there are like 3 open doors, and she was wondering what exactly she's supposed to do now. But then you found direction, and you knew where you were supposed to go. And I thank God because we're seeing the fruits today. So Daddy, how did you find that direction to know exactly what to do at that time, despite the numerous open doors?
Now, the first one was, I'm pursuing I studied that building, civil engineering and stuff like that. And a company was already there for me. My dad was on the board of directors, and the plan was that I'll take over later.
Wow.
So I was working there. I was working on the site after I was on site doing my building work and all that. But beyond that, I just discovered that, there is this, because while I was studying, a white man in the fellowship I was attending, he told me one day, he said, "You are just wasting your time." He said it literally. He said, "Throw the bricks out of the window and go and do the work of God." We builders, we use bricks. Throw the bricks. And I was like, what's this man saying? Even right there, they were planning that probably I should go to the Bible school. Wow. They saw the grace and they said, okay, maybe I should go to the Bible. I wasn't about processing the Bible school. There was some confusion somehow. I have a call of God, but I don't understand. There was no clarity. So now getting back to Nigeria, I continued my construction work, and the church I was attending, talking about missions, so I thought probably I'm going to be a missionary somewhere. Then I just suddenly started getting interested in drama because there's one aspect of my story of my life that I don't usually talk much about it, but my passion for drama while I was in England made me join a theater group, which I was the only black person there. It was not Christian, but because I loved it, so I joined them. We were doing stage works, all over. But there was not that, I didn't find the chance in the church, so I did it a bit. Then, getting back to Nigeria, the church I was attending, that was where they came. They said they were going to do the first Christian film in Nigeria. So, wow, this is going to be great. And the son of the late Ogunde, his son was born again and he wanted to shoot the first Christian film. So, they were going churches looking for people. So, they came to our church. We were there and there. We were eager. So, that's how I joined World Production, running around, seeing how we're going to shoot the first Christian film. So, it was in the midst of that we got the invitation to come for the Festival of Christian Drama by Mount Zion. That is what we call Harvest 87. That was how I attended. That was where this passion of drama was going deeper. The first thing was that on that day, as we arrived at Ojo with my group that I brought from Foursquare, as I arrived and I saw him, something happened. You meet somebody for the first time and something happened. It was just a connect. He smiled, I smiled. And there was something that now happened. We arrived on a Thursday. The drama group that I brought, we arrived on a Thursday. We were there Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We were to minister on Sunday, only for them to tell us that we can minister again after staying for 4 days. Wow. So my group was angry. And the funny part was, I was happy with him. It was fun. So from there, the relationship grew. Now, going back to the options. Now, studying building and then trying to pursue a career in building, that was one option. The second option, being a missionary. The third option, being a pastor. So all these things were just there. Then the fourth option, not even drama, the fourth option, communication. I started having passion for advertising and public relations, so I went to study that one too. I went to study that one by the side. So I was practicing public relations by the side, advertising by the side. So later I jumped construction and faced Lagos and started working for an advertising agency. And I was doing well in advertising. In fact, I was doing fine, I was doing well. But I was about to pursue it. I was about going deep into advertising. It's big money in advertising. I was about getting into it. Then this issue of the calling started coming. Because I was very close with Monsanto. So it started coming up strong. The funny thing, the week I had the thing was very strong. The week I said I was coming to share my vision with Daddy Mike. That same Monday, the Saturday before then, I went for a job interview to be the media manager of a particular advertising company. So we were there. After they interviewed me, they dismissed the rest of the people.
Wow.
So I was to come to Mount Zion. I came to Mount Zion to share my experience and all that. So, why I left on that Monday? When I got there on the Monday to the advertising agency, they said my name was not chosen. I said, wow, that's what thank God. It means God wants to use me. Since I'm not going to the advertising company. As I returned to my office, I saw a man sitting at the reception. He said, are you Mr. Adepoju? I said, yes. He said, I'm from a so-and-so advertising agency. He said, my boss said I should bring you. I said, I've been there. They said, my name was not. He said, it's a lie. He said, they manipulated the thing. I was the one I'm supposed to come. I'm supposed to come the next. I said, what kind of confusion is this? So I had a choice to respond to that. Also.
Wow.
So I was in that dilemma of what to do. Either to come and face it, or take up this job. So I remember this brother, I was in the office with me that day. That brother is one of the persons I can't forget in my life. I presented you, I said, bro, I'm in trouble. I have these 2 options. What do I do? Should I respond to this or should I face it? He said between me and you, I think you should go and answer that call. So that was how I faced that. I took that decision and I went to Ife. Now, there's one funny story about it. When I go to Ife and I shared the vision with Daddy Michael, this is what he said. I said, I think God is calling me. I came on a Monday. He told me that if I'm sure God is calling me, the whole team is going to worry for a month outreach on Friday. So if I'm sure God is calling me, I should get back to Ife by Thursday. And he was telling me this on a Monday. I'm already the client service manager and media manager of a company already. I was about changing company. You know, that's what you do in Avatar. You don't change, you keep switching. So I've not told my boss I'm leaving on Monday. I was staying with my brother. So my brother has just been transferred to Abuja and he wants staying and assisting his wife. I've not told him. I am the drama leader of a Winners Chapel. I've been planning for the first year anniversary. I'm the coordinator. I've not resigned.
Wow.
Do you understand? Those 3 choices were there for me. How do I do this in 4 days? Now something funny happened. I now took a lift in front of OAU University, Obafemi Awolowo University. I now entered that bus. It was like a pickup. There's the song they were playing. They were playing that song of Sunday Ade and Onyeka, Choices. They were just playing. I said, why are you playing this song at this right time? And at the back of the book of praying with all my life that I'm in a very serious, tight corner.
Wow.
So miraculously, within those 4 days, I told my boss I was leaving. He said no. He said he was not happy. He was not happy. I told my brother's wife I was leaving. That one, it was not, I don't know, God just took control. She accepted. Said no problem. Then, I think the 3rd hurdle was at the church as the drama coordinator. I went to meet Reverend Simeon Afolabi of Winners Chapel. This is this. I was telling to her, I thought he would spare up and tell me that, look, we are the drama coordinator, we're having a 1-year anniversary, what do you mean? Blah, blah, blah. No, they didn't react. They now started telling me his own story. What things that he has done in life, trying to find direction. He said he did this, did this. He said, that. Then he prayed for me and I left. I brought my big sack to Ife on Thursday. And that was how my journey to full-time began.
Wow. Okay.
That was how the journey began. The journey of faith. But the point was that the truth was that I just found peace. I was stepping into the unknown. And I remember when coming on that Monday, I was being with the brethren, the ministry, and Mike said, let everybody be sharing his experience. Someone asked me, say, Yemi, have you prayed very well for coming? So in this ministry, we trust God for toothpaste sometimes. You know those things can scare you. Say, do you know where you are coming to this guy? You have a job, you have everything. They know what they are doing. I was, and thank God, when we look back today, you see God's hand. God has been so good, But initially making a decision is not just easy. It costs a lot of things. You have to sacrifice your. Today when I discuss people who have been in advertising, even that company I'm talking about has folded up now. Yes, I will have folded up with it.
Okay. Daddy, thank you so much for that. Powerful.
And the Bible says that the steps of a righteous man are ordered by God. Sometimes you may not understand, you may not even see the future, you may not know where you are going. But as long as you remain, in tune with God and trust that God is leading you, you always lead you right.
Yes.
After you joined the ministry and you left your secular job and became a full-time minister, were there challenges? And if there were, what kind of challenges did you experience?
I don't know about challenges. The first thing that, I got into the ministry. Now, this is not a ministry where you're on salary. It's not as if, so and so is coming in. But one thing I enjoy, one thing that's supposed, immediately we got into the ministry, like 1 month in Warri, on stage every day, you know, sometimes 3 times on a Sunday. So the activity was on. You know, you see souls coming to the Lord every night. You see, you know, those things give you joy. It's not as if you are just redundant. And for 1 month, you are not even at home. You come back home again. By the time we came back, there were outreaches waiting for us again. That year, 1990 and 1991, out of 365 days, we had about 262 outreaches.
Wow.
Can you see how close? You could remember what days we are left. So it was so, we launched into activity, so we were so busy, we were so, so occupied, and then those things, you know, it was not a boring ministry activities. Things were just, from there, we shot beginning of the end, we started taking it down churches, you know, so, but and we could see the power of God in so many things of the things we were doing. So, but the challenges was number one, at that early stage, challenges of acceptability, now challenges of survival, having to just trust God. Then when you go to the family, they I mean, thank God if you have understanding family, it's okay, but they were like, so many of your friends will be asking the question, how are you surviving? They keep asking us that question. How are you surviving? They're like, how are you coping? You know, at that time, the man of God sat me down. It's not a full time. He was a lecturer in UI then. He called me that day. I went to visit him. He drilled me for about 30 minutes. He was asking me a lot of questions. How do you do that? I was telling him by faith. The man now stood by his car and he shook his head. These people, you can challenge someone. No? He now brought 15 naira. 15 naira was big money. They gave me. He said, just give me. Few months later, he resigned. And today he's doing very well in ministry. But Mount Zion challenged a lot of people. You know, because that journey of faith, just trusting God for everyday meal like that, you know, just trusting God. You know, in it, most of us were single. In it, when the issue of marriage came up, you have to trust God for your wedding. They trust God for the list your family. Now, that was the bus stop the family was waiting for. You say God called you. Let's see. Your marriage is not here. How do you fund your marriage? You know, that was another journey again. Where but the God that called us showed up really, because at that time he showed up. God just touched those who were hard. God touched them on his own, you know, and they made it possible. So it was faith at each junction. You just have to exercise faith at each junction. It was really challenging. I mean, survivor. You know, believing God for everything, trusting God for everything. You know, it's a lot of faith. It's a lot of faith. Then you go to normal outreaches, the way sometimes you are treated very well, sometimes you are not treated very well. You know, you have to, and sometimes when you are going on outreach, especially people have families, when you are going on outreach, you look at some their wives were pregnant when they were going, and there was nothing they could leave behind to give the wife to, it was just faith. You know, it was raw, hard faith. You know, which there are so many questions you couldn't even answer. You couldn't even tell people, how you people surviving? How's it going to be like? But we thank God. I mean, he just showed up at critical time. You know, there was this funny experience. I usually like sharing. When I was living in Ife, at the time I was married. When I was living in Ife, I was sent to Ibadan for an assignment. And on that day, our toothpaste had finished. I remember the brother that said, we believe God for toothpaste. Told me. So that day, was no paste at home. So, and I had no money to buy toothpaste. So I just went to buy on the assignment. So, because I went to challenge area, I had to check on my mom. I greeted her. She didn't give me toothpaste. There was an old woman, one of our tenants. She loves what we are doing and all that. So I just greeted her. She said, what do I give you? And she now opened her fridge. And she brought out the toothpaste. Wow. She gave me that toothpaste. Of all things. Of all things, you know. And I was like, this is amazing. Why that particular thing at that time? So it was just like that. Different things at times when you just need those things. It was just faith like that, you know.
Wow. Wow. Daddy, thank you for
Wow.
that. Thank you for that. I'm sure you have a question.
Wow, Daddy, thank you for that. It's, showed times of raw faith where
Yes,
people had to
yes.
solely depend on God. Then you mentioned something about how some of the brethren joined Mount Zion, they were single. So were you already married before joining, or you were single?
I was single. I told you I came with just one bag.
Oh yes, true. So how did you now, on the journey of marriage, while you were already in ministry, how did you know? How did you identify the one? How did you know mommy was the one God was leading you to?
Now, I met her for the first time at 87. Met her for the first time. That time it was quite funny because I don't know whether drama ministers remember. Some of them won't know this story. Now, after Harvest 87, Daddy Mike had this that we should shoot the first Christian film in Yoruba. He wrote the script, and we started meeting at Orita Baptist Church. That's where we used to gather. So, that gave me the assignment that I was going to coordinate the program and all that. The shooting and all that. So we're doing. So incidentally, I was not telling the sisters to do something, maybe to do some exercise, and I just saw her and she was, who is this guy just giving us orders? Something just struck. But I didn't pay much attention to it because, to be frank, the way I was then, I was just zealous for things. I was just focused on doing the work and all that. So from there, we started doing a lot of planning, for the film. And we used to gather to pray. Myself, at the mic, Mommy Gloria, and her. But sincerely, I was engaged. So my mind was not even for someone else.
Okay.
So my mind was just like we are all praying.
Yes.
Even Sammy jokingly, and the sister I was engaged to was behind Mommy Gloria's name. So we used to say jokingly, she was not just she didn't. I think something was telling her that this is not the sister, and I was like, what's going on? I was just enjoying. I was just going on. So, my wife has already crossed to full time. She was in full time before me. She had already gone in the ministry. In fact, incidentally, when she wanted to move her stuff from Ibadan to go on full time, I arranged the vehicle. I said, "You are going to Ife. God be with you." He arranged the vehicle, and she packed her things and she started going on. I still continued doing my work. She told me she wanted to one time. He said, "Hey," although I still saw her as prayer partner, sister in the Lord, sister in the Lord that we, and all that. And at the time she was even praying for us in our courtship. She was praying for us and all that.
Yeah.
Until a time when I discovered that courtship wouldn't work again. My parents were not in support of what I was for that relationship. They weren't in support, and I was forcefully doing the whole thing. In fact, I think some of our youth should learn. In fact, there was nothing I didn't put into that relationship. I was working, anything she needs. I literally funded that sister's education out of my own. I was just zealous to make it work. I was always there. After my work is the place I will go. I was so committed to it. Until a time when an incident happened and I was able to see that, there's no way in this thing. I said, well, I go and talk to your parents. I know that there's no, that. So it got to a point that the battle was on. Then a particular day happened when I knew the courtship was, God uses songs to give me solutions. So when the courtship broke, I was crying actually. As I entered the church that day, the song they were singing, now that the battle is over. Now that the battle. And they were all dancing and I was weeping. And now the battle is over. I now saw that truly the battle is over. Then the word came. So when the perfect is come, the imperfect shall be done away with. Then the vision of her started coming back to me. Then I had to tell her one Sunday, there's no GSM, there's nothing. And I told her everything. And she went to pray. And Now, you know, the issue of marriage, somebody is already in the ministry, I'm still outside. You know, you get, so I'm still outside now. The dilemma was, and I'm not yet in. The dilemma, you know, you can't come into a ministry because of marriage sometimes. Because the risk there is that it's very risky. So you have to be convinced. You didn't come to the ministry because you wanted to marry. That's the more. So you must be convinced that the first thing must be the call first for the marriage. So when I saw the conviction, and I started seeing dreams and all that. So when I joined, when I now came to the ministry, and of course, by the time we were sharing with him, I said I knew. He knew in 1988. Can you imagine? He knew in 1988, but he didn't say anything. He didn't want to initiate anything. He allowed God to work everything out. You know, so I always tell people, it's not the first one you made that it is. If it is, thank God for you. You sometimes you will have gone through some things, and then, you know, but with that, one was able to see that God was in it, and that was how we began.
Wow. Oh, Daddy, thank you so much for that, for the story, because there are so many lessons that you could derive from this. Number one is that you don't marry for ministry. Number two is for you to be, you know, convinced that this is the person, because Daddy, you could have insisted that I've put so much into this relationship. It has to work. It has. For you to put so much in the relationship and then you still hear God enough to break it off, then it means definitely you were bent on hearing God's will and knowing for certain, you know, God's will for your life and following it through. So Daddy, we know by default that you love children. You love children and you love family. So how have you been able to combine, you know, family and ministry together? Family begins from when you get married. Then from marriage, the baby making begins, and then the first thing actually is the marriage. The first thing, if you marry right and you know the will of God for you, and the marrying right, you know, when we talk of marriage, we are not talking of only you and your wife. The family you marry to matters. You know, if you marry, the two families must be in harmony. Yes. So, and then we thank God that our family, my family, we were knitted together, and thank God for that. So now, having to combine the ministry and the family, now at a time pregnancy will come, so which means our sisters wouldn't follow us again to state ministrations. So we have to begin to believe God for them when they're at home. I have to believe God for her when at home. I mean, taking care, be trusting God for safe delivery. All those antenatal stages, you know, going through this, going through that, praying to God for safe delivery and stuff. Sometimes you will travel. No, there is no GSM to call your wife. Just believe that she's okay. You know, so that the challenges begin with the pregnancy. I remember when we were about to deliver our first baby, that time, it was faith. And then something happened the day she was going to be discharged. Incidentally, my in-laws were there. You know, and they gave us a bill to offset. And without that bill, you are not going home. And your in-laws are there. You know, they have a good news to take home. They have the news to take home. They know the kind of husband she married. So something happened on that day. So I went to meet at the mic that they are about to discharge her. So where he was, immediately I got there, the person he was with drew him inside. And my wife said, immediately I got to the door. The person said that whatever I asked, what I came for, that person she will be responsible for everything. And I said, okay. They now told her this, they have bills, they have to settle their bills. And after giving the money for the bills, the person gave us the driver and the car to bring the woman, the baby and the mother home, and the in-law after offsetting the bill. Wow. So now, as you said, your first question,
because thank God I love children very much. So when she started giving birth, she didn't have issues with them because I will happily carry them, sing in the night, sing them when they're about to wean the child from suckling to, that night I had to carry her somewhere, And I remember when Joba was born and they were shooting blood covenant, then all our sisters were on set. So they were breastfeeding. So when they say cut, we carry the babies to the room. They will suck breast. Roll, we take the babies again. Cut, we carry the babies. So because he was so involved, and most of the time I had to carry my son. So he was fond of opening my shirt, putting his hand there and rubbing my chest. So he became so bonded so that he wouldn't miss the breast for some time. So that will help make the life of the woman easier a bit. So it was fun for me taking care of them, taking them to school, going to bring them back from school. It was enjoyable for me, so it was wasn't an issue for me. It's what we've been looking forward to, and when it came, it was not a burden, So managing it, once the love for your wife is there, you don't push her to do everything herself. You do it together, you enjoy it together. I remember watching my baby nappies. It was so exciting for me. Because then, thank God for Pampers now. Then there were nappies. It was fun for me. Taking care of them, do all those things. Even going to the market. Because you don't have to assist her, when the child is crying, definitely you take the child away and, and family and handling the children was not a burden to me, actually. It was enjoyable.
And then, Daddy, thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. I guess there's one thing that really struck me. I think it's something you said earlier, that it's not in the quantity of time. Was it you or told that said it? It's not in the quantity of time, but in the quality of time. Yes. So, and then all those lovely moments whereby you carry the child and child will rub your chest. And then, definitely he'll have that in mind.
Yes.
Surely the boy or the girl will not feel left out in ministry. She will still feel bonded to the parents. So thank you so much for that. I'm sure you have a question.
I know it's also to encourage parents out there, because there are children of ministers today who will say that they don't want to be ministered, they don't want to be pastors, because their parents are not available for them. They're serving God and doing God's work. So the fact that serving God it's not an excuse for you to neglect your family.
Your family,
Family is important, it's priority. And when the movie of Heartbreak, we see that it's God.
Yes, that was to me too. It was God. And I watched that movie. It was God. I said, this is not heartlessness, because at least you should have that feeling. Look at the food in front of you, and they are struggling with gas. It reminds me, there was something very funny. When we were down outreach then, you left home without the people at home have nothing. You get to the outreach, they give you 4 pieces of meat, and you are like, how do I take all this? And sometimes you see people trying to keep 1 or 2, smuggle 1 or 2 home to get to at least give to the children. Anything they give you, you try I can't eat all this thing. Because you know how it is at home. You get that kind. Somewhere you are living home, there was nothing you left. And you are just how are these people going to survive? You are just thinking about it. So you couldn't be, if you are, now thank God for GSM, you can quickly say, you can even quickly transfer money or look for how you should feel their pain. You couldn't, I don't know how a man could be detached from his family. They are not just feel what they are part of you. So how could you just be, I don't know how to call it carelessness. How could you just not your child, your wife?
Something with gas.
When you are living, they are shouting, they are caring, calling. There are some things, some things you could do. You could say, okay, maybe arrange with a friend to at least assist them or do something. It was just completely detached from his family, and you get carried away with the work. The work. And it's a wrong concept, completely. It's a wrong concept. And that's why those children don't like the ministry.
Yes.
And of course, it also is a wake-up call even to the leaders, general overseers of these churches, as they are making programs. They should also remember these people are family men. You know, by the time you do back-to-back programs, this travel today, tomorrow travel, you should also know that these people have families. You know, they have families. These people, there should be a time that, all right, no program, go and spend time with your family. You know, so these things, and then these things silently is killing the ministry. When scandals begin to happen, when breakages, children of ministers, these things stay in the ministry. You know, so, and part of it is that when they are not like, look at in that happened, the boy was stealing. You know, he was taking money and all those kind of things, you know, it goes to the fact, and of course, too, reading some of these ministers are doing some of these things that some will say, okay, from one ministration, the honorarium is piling up. So I can, school fees, you know, you understand what I'm saying now? Some of them are doing that kind of a plan. But in doing that, it goes beyond the school fees. First of all, they need.
Yes.
You know a child feel when your father calls you for administration, and you are saying that with that bonding, the child is unfair. He still needs that physical you get, and you deny him, and you are just like you are doing ministry. You know, it's a wrong concept. It shouldn't be encouraged at all. You know, you shouldn't. After taking back-to-back administrations, you should take a break.
Take a break and go home.
You know, these are things those ministers abroad don't do. They have leave. They go on the beach with their children. They go on holidays. Have you had ministers going on holidays before? It won't happen. You know, there are beautiful places you can even go. Just spend time with you, play with them, throw them up, run around, let them chase you. You're a human being. You know, let them. These are things they will not forget. And I say, your children are with you. Enjoy it now while it lasts. You know, because there's a point you won't carry them again. You won't be able to carry them again. And those moments, they will remember, when we went to this beach, when we went to this place. Those are memories they will tell their children. How could your children can make reference to a time that they had something, they had an experience that was so enjoyable to them. You know, probably went to a waterfalls. We splashed water at each other. You know, we pushed mommy into the water. All those things. There is no reference to all that. All is church, home, Sunday school, retreat, counseling. That's what we know. They too will not grow their children that way.
Because it's all this.
That's what if a man comes from that kind of family, that's how he raises his own. You know, nothing, they don't unwind, you know. They don't unwind.
As well. God help us and ministers and parents of these days to wake up and understand that they have an important role to play in the family.
Against the storm, never sleep, never